Hello and welcome to the first part in this new series about save points. This series was voted for by patrons and YouTube members for the month of October. So I want to say a massive thank you to all my patrons and YouTube members for their continued support. So in this series, we're going through how to create save point objects in the world that allow you to save your position and your data about your character's progress to a save file. This can be then selected from a menu system, which will load up and put you into the right space in the game. So let's get started on today. So on to today's session. Today we're going to go through how to set up the basic menu system for the save game, as well as the actual save game object itself, which we'll be using a player start class. So let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to design our save game object that will be in the world for us to interact with. So I'm going to go and create a new blueprint class, and because this is going to be a place where players will eventually spawn, I want this to be a player start class. I'm going to go down here, select player start, and make a new one, and we'll call this one save point. Now, because it is a player start, it functions just like a player start. You can set up player start tags and so forth, but we can also add extra things to it as well. So for example, I can now add a particle system to this to add an effect for it. Now you can use anything you like to make this look like a save point if you wish. I've already got a visual effect here that I've got from the marketplace that I can use to save some time. So here we have my visual for a save point. Now alongside this, we also want an area around the save point to signify when the player can interact with it and save their game. I'm going to go add component and add a sphere collision to it. And this sphere collision, is going to be increase the radius of it to be big enough for the player to walk inside of it and start interacting. Hit compile and save that. Now I can place these into the world as normal player starts. With that now in the world there, you can see it's like a normal player start where you have the player start tags over here where you can define it, and we'll define each save point like however you want really. So we'll give it the name of this area of this map. So I've got this like market square, I guess we'll call it. So we'll call this one market square. Okay, and I'll put another one in over here by the castle, and put another save point there, and we'll call this one castle. Okay, but then when we build in our system later on to choose which save point to go to, we are saving the player start tag as a string to the save game system. So speaking of the save game system, we need to create our save game objects, the things that are actually saving data to the game. Now in that system we're going to have two different save game objects. The first one is going to be storing the various variables and information about the player from the game itself, so the main save game system. So you're going to look for a save game object and select that, and we'll call this one player save data. And the second one we're going to have is going to hold information about the game itself. So the reason why we want this is because when the game loads up, we're going to have multiple save slots, but we need to know what those save slots are going to be called, and various other settings available to the game too. This is going to exist outside of the player save data because it has to load up at the start of the game when you first boot the game up. So it will load up this save game objects and know what possibilities there are, and then the player can choose which one they want to load up. So I'm going to search for our save game again, and we'll call this one game save data. Okay. Then the game save data, we're going to go inside of here, and we go to the variables list, and in here we're going to create a string array. And this string array is going to be called save slots, and we're going to change that to a string and make it an array. File and save that. So this is going to store each of the individual slots. So let's say for example we've got 3 slots that the player can choose to save the game in. This will allow us to store the names of those slots so we can fetch the exact ones we want when we load up the game. So we're going to leave that there for now. And then on the player save data, this is where you put all the information you need to save about your game, level, whatever it is, you put it all into the variables here. Now, rather than me do the full game experience type thing, I'm going to put something very simple. I'm going to go add a new variable, and we're going to have this starting location that they need to start in. So that would be save point name, and that would be a string. And that's going to refer to the player start tag on our objects. And we're going to have another variable, so we can test the variable increasing and decreasing. We'll say player level, for example, and we'll make that a integer. If you're doing like an inventory, it'd be like an array of something or a map or something. If it'll be actors that you're storing, equipment you're storing, that would be class references and so forth. You put in whatever you need to save into here. I've got more videos about saving and loading stuff. Check them out. You'll find some more information about it there. But this will do just fine here. I'm going to set the default player level here to 1. Okay. So what I like to do in my save data files is set up some functions and events to allow us to be calling them wherever we want to save and load data. So we're going to make a custom event in here, and we're going to, of course, want save player data, and we're going to add a variable input for this, and this would be the player character. And player. Oh, sorry, we'll just do third person characters. Third person character. There we go. Third person character reference, and we'll call this one player character. So when you call this function, you pass through which character you want to save. That way we can get any information we want to get from the player character. We're also going to have a load, a custom event called load player character or player data. And that again will need reference to the player character. Okay, so let's now put the player level variable on our character class. And in here, add a variable for player level. And this could be a struct, for example, whatever you really want. Make that an integer, all that. Now we'll go back to my player save data. I'm going to go to save player data, and I'm going to get the player level from the player character. I'm going to store that in the variable that's here on the save game object. And you do that for all the different things. So then at the end here, we're going to call the save game to slot function. And the save game object here is going to be self. And the slot name here is going to be a variable. So I'm going to promote this to a variable. And we'll call it slot name. Like that. And that's all we have to do here. On the load player data, we're going to do the player character out here and move set player level. And we're going to plug in the player level variable from our save game object. And that's all we have to do for this. So two very basic setups. Obviously, in the full game, it's a lot more complex than this, but it is literally the same sort of deal where you get and set the various variables. Okay, so that'll do there. Next, we need to go back and start working on a UI to show to the player when they go to save their game. So the next thing we need to do is set up the game instance to allow the setup for our save game objects. So I'm going to right click here, go to blueprint class, search for game instance. Select this, and we'll call this one save game instance. Whatever you want for your particular game. You only have one of these for the whole entire game. And in our one, we're going to set up the saving of our objects. So on init, which is an event that runs at the very start of the game. So the game instance is the thing that is first launched when you play the game, and it's the last thing that's closed, and it runs persistently throughout the whole entire thing. So an event init here, we're going to do the load data from the main game save slot. So first we need to check if it exists or not. So does save game exist? And we're going to call this one game save data. And if that is true or false, we'll go into a branch. it's true and it does exist, we're going to simply just tell it to load game from slot. And the slot name we're going to load here is going to be game save data. That gets our various game settings and save slots that we've got available. The return value from this will then need to be cast to our game save data. And I'm going to promote that to a variable. But then on false, we're going to create a new one. So if it doesn't exist, we create a new one. So create save game object. And we're going to choose our class here, game save data. Return value here, we just need to promote to our as save game slot. Okay, so now we have access to the number of slots that we have available to our game. So next we need to start building the UI. So we're going to go into our make a UI folder here to keep things a bit more organized. And we're going to create a simple widget blueprint here for the main menu. And in the main menu, we're going to have in here a very simple message at the start saying with options like start game, load game, so forth. So we'll just do a simple vertical box. And we'll put that in the center. So I'm going to line it with 0.5, 0.5, and put it in the center of the screen. Get rid of the position data. There it is. We'll just change the size here, increase that a little bit. It's up to 500. Oh. And this one will change to, let's try 300. Okay. I'm just going to lower that down actually in the Y a little bit here. So we'll take it down to 0.2. Okay, so there's my vertical box centered in the screen just as I want it. And in there, we're going to have various buttons. Button, first one here. And in there, we're going to have some text. And the text here is going to say start game. The button itself I want to make invisible background. So get rid of the background completely. So give some padding on the text here so it spaces out a little bit. A bit better like that. And that'll do for this. I'm then going to duplicate this across. So I'm going to select the button here, push Control W to duplicate it. And then I'll just change the text here to be like options, for example. And then a final one here for quick game. Okay. So when you click start game, what we're going to do is make the screen change to reveal the 3 save slots available to us. So there they are. I'm just going to rename the buttons. So start button. And this one will be options button. And this button here will be quit button. Okay. Okay, so now we have our option buttons here available to us. We need to hook them up to do something. So we're going to make it change the widget through a widget switcher. So put in a widget switcher. Got a canvas panel. And this widget switcher, I'm going to stretch to fill the whole entire screen. Change the offset here to be 0000. It feels like that. Okay, so to make it switch to different menu screens when we click start game or options, we're going to put a widget switcher into it. So I'm going to right click on my canvas panel and I'm going to wrap with and do a widget switcher. This will put a widget switcher around the whole entire screen and put a canvas panel inside of it, meaning that we have this canvas panel set to the main menu. So I'm going to call this one, we'll call it home screen. That's our canvas panel there. We're then going to have another screen in here. So dragging another canvas panel in. And this one will be called save or load game screen, we'll call it. Load game screen. And we'll have another one. So it'll be option screen. And that'll do. Quit game won't have one. We'll just make it quit the game. But there are our 3 canvas panels. The home screen just has the options. Load game screen will have something different. Now, load game screen is going to have information about the slots here. So let's come out of here and create a new widget blueprint for our save slot. So save slot option, we'll call it. And go in there. And we're going to get rid of the canvas panel. Now in here, we're going to put in the details of the save slot, including like things, information that we may have on that save data. So for example, we may have like the save game information, like title, like the name of the file, plus also player information like their health or the progress they've made so far or time they've spent, whatever it may be. So in here, we're going to put in a vertical box. Like so. And in there, we'll have a horizontal box. And a text box. The text box we're going to put above the horizontal box. And this will be the save slot name. So we'll call this one save slot name. Like this. Okay. In the horizontal box here, we'll put in more text in here. So here we'll put in player level text. And put another one in. We'll call this one the time played, for example. Whatever it may have. And we'll make it fill up the available space with the player level text. So hit fill, it pushes it to the right here with the text block. Okay, so hit compile and save this. Now the save slot name is going to be variable because it's going to be changing based upon the existence of other save game data. So I'm going to tick the is variable box for this. The other two I'm not going to worry about just yet. And with the save slot name, we're going to put a default text in here is create new save file. Okay. And this whole thing is going to be wrapped in a button. I'm going to right click on my vertical box, wrap with button. And we'll tell it to have no background color. In fact, we'll make it have like a, actually no background color will be fine. A vertical box here, we'll make it fill the available space. A bit of padding, we'll put 50 padding around it. Okay. Save on that, and then we go back to main menu. Now in here, we want to drag in 3 different save files. So we can put in save slot option, put that one in. And this will be wrapped in a vertical box. So let's wrap that in the vertical box. The vertical box here will anchor it to the whole width. Right. That's it. And now we can put another save slot. So 1, 2, 3. And each of these are going to fill the available space. So I'm going to hit fill, fill, fill. So now we've got 3 save slots ready for me to click on and load up games from there. Hit compile and save that. And then we're going to go and create a new main menu level. So I'm going to go to my maps here, and I've already made a blank one. It's just an empty level, nothing special in it. And in here, we're going to make it launch the main menu UI. So part of this is main menu folder. Part of this will have a controller to handle this stuff and things like that. So we'll create a new different class, a new player controller. This will be the main menu controller. We'll create a new game mode, main menu game mode, and we'll make a new HUD class as well. main menu HUD. So using these three things, open up the main menu game mode and tell it to use its various things. So on the player controller class, we'll use the main menu controller. The HUD class, we'll use the main menu HUD. Hit compile and save there. And we're told this level here to use the main menu game mode. We go to the world settings tab, and you'll see game mode override. Choose the main menu game mode. If you don't see the world settings tab, just go to window and you'll find world settings there. Okay, so now we've got the main menu HUD. The main menu HUD class, we're going to go to the event graph, and on begin play, we're going to create widget, and we're going to tell it to create the main menu. And we'll promote that to a variable, just useful to grab hold of. And then tell it to add to viewport. Okay, so that's that. Hit save there and close this, and if I hit play now, we should hopefully see our main menu appear. We've got start game options and quick game. So I want the start game to take me to that widget switcher with the various slots in there. So let's go to that UI here, go to main menu, and go to the home screen. Go to the start game button, and go to the bottom here and add the on clicked event. And when this happens, I'm going to take the widget switcher, which I should name that properly. Call it menu switcher. And we're going to take that out, and we're going to set active widget index to the second child, because our home screen's the first child, our load game screen's the second child. So that would be index 1. 0 counts as a single index. So when we click on it, it should take us to that menu. I want to also make a back button so I can go back to here and cancel out. So let's go to our designer view, go to the load game thing here, and I'll put a button here in the corner. So button, we'll put in a load game screen here, and we'll put that in the vertical box bottom here. I'm going to take it to be right aligned, and we'll put some text in there. And this text here will be called back to main menu. Let's just change the padding around that to make it stand out a bit more. Do like 30. There we have it. And get rid of the background on the back of the button itself. Okay, so now I've got like a link in the bottom of the screen. When we do that, this button here we'll just name back button, and we'll go to the on clicked event for this. And very similarly, we're just going to take this exact same thing. This time it's going to go back to 0. Compile and save that. Let's test this functionality out, and then I think we're done. So we go start game. There's our save game objects. We go to click on these to load up new games and so forth. And now click back to main menu and take us back to the main game screen. So, and that brings us to the end of episode 1. In the next episode, we're going to go on to creating new save game files, allowing the player to enter its own custom name and then displaying it in a menu. So join us next time over on patreon.com/Ryan Laley, right now, where you can watch that video plus many more from just $1 a month. Big shout out to all my patrons and YouTube members for their continued support, and me and the channel. Thanks again for watching, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.